What is your full name?
Victor Anthony Chaya.
Did you have a nickname?
Yeah, well, they used to call me sometimes Doc and sometimes Smitty and Mr. C and things like that.
When and where were you born?
I was born in Middletown, Connecticut in October 17, 1930.
How did your family come to live there?
Well, I really don't know. I wasn't around then.
Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I enlisted.
Where were you living at the time?
Middletown, Connecticut.
Why did you join?
Get away from the farm.
Why did you pick the service branch you joined?
That was the only thing available at the time.
Do you recall your first days in service?
Yep,
What did it feel like?
it was different from where I was used to.
Tell me about your boot camp or training experience.
Well, I had experimental training. In other words, we, instead of going the 8 weeks that they normally went, we went 13 weeks. And we were given full training on all weapons.
Do you remember your instructors?
Well, I don't know his name, but I can still remember him.
How did you get through it?
Pretty well.
Which war did you serve in?
Korean War.
Where exactly did you go?
I went to Incheon, Korea.
Do you remember arriving and what it was like?
Well, I went there in '48 first, and before going to Japan, and it was completely new because 30 miles off on the boat, you could smell the island, I mean the land.
What did it smell like?
Manure.
What was your job assignment?
I was an MP.
Did you see combat?
Yeah, yes,
Were there many casualties in your unit?
always was in Korea.
Tell me more. Tell me a couple of your most memorable experiences.
Probably the most memorable was the day that General Walker was killed in a car accident. And don't believe what you read and what the Army put out, because it wasn't true. It was really an accident and it was his fault. I was the MP investigating. I saw the whole thing.
Were you a prisoner of war?
No,
Were you awarded any medals or citations?
none.
Did you sustain injuries?
Yes, I did.
Tell us about the circumstances.
The what?
The circumstances.
Oh. Well, I was shot.
Where were you shot?
In the left knee.
How did you stay in touch with your family?
2 letters.
What was the food like?
It wasn't bad. It was the same stuff all the time, though. Pork and gravy and beef and gravy.
Did you have plenty of supplies?
No, we didn't have any supplies. We were short of supplies at all times.
Can you give us an example of?
Well, I landed with the fatigues in 25-degree weather, and I didn't get any winter clothes until, let's see, just before I got wounded, so it was a while. It was months.
Did you feel pressure or stress?
All the time.
Was there something special you did for good luck?
No.
How did people entertain themselves?
Well, in the Army, you find ways of entertaining. You did different things. There was always somebody that was able to play a guitar or something, and people would sing and things like that.
What was one of your favorite?
I didn't have any favorites.
Were there entertainers from the States?
Yeah, we had Jack Benny there.
Did you enjoy it?
He was good, yes. He could really play that violin.
What did you do when on leave?
Well, the normal thing, went out, had a good time. No, I didn't drink. I didn't touch liquor at that time. I didn't smoke either. I gave that up just before I went overseas.
Where did you travel while in the service?
I was in China, Korea, and Japan.
Do you recall any particularly humorous or unusual events?
Well, probably humorous was when the boys took out Yamashita to Camp Drake to shoot him. He went to sleep and they had to wake him up to shoot him. He was the only Japanese that was given a firing squad. The rest of them were hung.
What made him different?
He was sentenced by the Philippine government, not by us, and he requested that he be shot and not hung, because being hung was ordinary criminal type, and he didn't feel that he was a criminal. So he wanted to go honorably.
What were some of the pranks that you or others would pull?
Oh, I couldn't talk about those.
Do you have any photographs?
I had some, yes, but I don't know where. A lot of them disappeared when I left.
Can you tell us about some of these people?
These are the Class A criminals of the war crimes. They were the big shots. There's Tojo, and he was actually the guy that would squeal on the others that they did something wrong when they were in prison. And all the rest of these were the big top shots. And this is the head of Japanese Black Dragon Society. And we used to escort them when they had interviews with their family.
What was the Black Dragon Society?
Black Dragon was a secret society in which it was, well, it was like we've had certain organizations in this country, Ku Klux Klan, things like that. They were a very powerful secret society in which they committed murders and things like that. You either followed the line or you disappeared.
Are they still in existence or were they shut down?
Oh, they're not that I know that they're in existence anymore, but could be.
What did you think of officers or fellow soldiers?
The officers were pretty good we had at SAGMA. They weren't real jerks like in most cases. They backed you in many cases.
Did you keep a personal journal?
No, I did not keep any journal.
Do you recall the day your service ended?
Yes, I was at Camp Kilmer, New Jersey when I got discharged. That was the day that the World Series was going on, and Dusty Rhodes hit a home run to win the game.
What were your feelings?
No, I don't know. I was probably rejoicing at that time because I'd been away for 4 years and gonna finally go home.
What did you do in the days and weeks afterwards?
Well, I went home and I got a job and went to work in a factory.
What, did you go to school?
Eventually I went to school, yes. I graduated, got my teaching certificate and taught.
What grade and subject?
I taught social studies in high school.
Was your education supported by the GI Bill?
No, I went on my own.
Did you make any close friendships while in the service?
Quite a few.
Did you continue any of those relationships?
Yes, some of them.
For how long?
Well, till they either passed away or we lost contact somehow.
Did you join a veterans organization?
Yes,
Which one?
American Legion and the Disabled American Veterans.
Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
Well, the belief that I have now is that politicians are a bunch of jerks.
What kind of activities does your post or military association have?
Well, the normal ones, you help each other out and so forth.
How did your service and experience affect your life?
Well, I stayed in the reserve after I got out. I spent 14 years in the reserve.
Are you married?
Yes,
What is your spouse's name?
Marion,
Do you have any siblings?
no.
How is the world today different from what it was like when you were a child?
Well, there's no more respect by the kids.
Is there anything else you would like to add that was not covered in this interview?
Well, the only thing I can say is that we need to learn about history in school. Kids don't learn enough about history and what happens. Because history occurs and reoccurs and so forth.
Okay. Would you like to talk about the other posters that you have?
Okay, this is a photo of SAGMA prison, the front gate. This is how the prison looked. It's no longer there. The Japanese tore it down, and the tallest building in Tokyo is there now. That's another photo of it. This is the theater that we used to go to when we were soldiers at SAGMA. This is the main gate, and this is a guard doing his duty, checking out the soldiers going out on pass. And this is a couple of the guards at the gate. This is John Ginn here. He's the one that wrote this book on SAGMA prison. He's dead now. He passed away. This is one of our towers. We used to be up in that tower there, and you pulled 4-hour shifts. This is the wall around the prison. And this is prisoners going out of the prison. They have to be checked out, passed out. And that's about it. And this is how the city was destroyed during the World War II. Okay. Some of the pictures, you ready? These are some of the pictures that comfort women that the Japanese had gotten, and this is a veteran talking about his memories of the war, agonizing memories. And this particular is a cover picture of the book of a pilot. In fact, this is an Australian who was decapitated by the Japanese. The Japanese had a habit of any airman they caught, they would torture and decapitate them. In other words, behead them. Okay, these are some of the patches that were proposed for SAGMA prison. They were never officially accepted. by MacArthur. This is the only one that eventually ended up, this is the 8th Army patch, and we wore this all the time. All the rest of these were rejected by MacArthur. He didn't feel that they were good enough. This is a rank here, this is a T5, and it's a technical sergeant, and a regular sergeant would have more authority than he would. Okay, this is one of our shirts that we use at our Sagamo Prison Reunion Association meetings. It's of all the veterans that were at Sagamo Prison. We have an organization, and I'm the president of it. And that's the cap that we use. And these are some of the small pins that were located when we had a annual meeting. And this, of course, are my badges from the MPs. And this is a Japanese rifle that was used prior to the surrender. This is the hangman's hood. The Japanese used this. We didn't use it there. This is the hood that they used on their political prisoners when they hung them. This is a knockout thing. It came down on the rope and hit the person in the back of the head, and it would knock him out so he wouldn't feel the pain of being strangled. A Japanese sword and Nambu pistol. The officers carried these swords, and they used them for beheadings and banzai charges. By John Ginn. It's about the prisoners at Sagamo Prison, Japanese prisoners of war, and their sentence and so forth, and also has some of the pictures of some of the men that were at Sagamo. This particular picture is Captain Harrigan, who was from Bristol, Connecticut. He was our commanding officer, and there's Max Goodrich, who was the first sergeant. Okay, this is a picture here of George Stepnick and Captain McCormick taking out Tokyo Rose when she was going to the States for her trial. Believe it or not, Stepnick, who was a sergeant at this time, had went into World War II as a 14-year-old boy. He took his cousin's name, and later, when he got discharged from the service after spending 30 years in the service, he took his own name back, Charles Harrion. Many of the soldiers at Sagamo were young. Many of them were only 15, 16 years old. And they did a good job. I'd like to see 15, 16-year-old boys doing what they did.
I heard him say I am no hero. I'm here 'cause I have to be. But I will stand beside you and fight for liberty. One minute we were talking, the next he was gone. Just another fallen warrior to make the final journey home. But this man, he was different. No one knew his name. No one cried the day he died. No one felt the pain. It was left for us to claim him. His country won it all with the tomb of the unknown soldier. ever thought about the glory, never knew of the pride his country would award him for his sacrifice. I still wonder if it matters that no one knows his name, for his simple unknown soldier has finally claimed his fame. So many go unnoticed, their needs are never known, but they took comfort in knowing that someday they'd go home. But this man, he was different. No one knew his name, and no one cried the day he died. No one felt the pain. It was left for us to claim him. His country wanted all, with the tomb of the unknown soldier